Hey, thanks for tuning to another episode of The Spiritual Scientist. I'm Victor. Hey, thanks for checking me out. So I'm going to make another video. This one's going to be pretty weird, and I'm going to just put myself out there. The U.S. has changed for me as a Mandela effect. It's been changing, and, it is really weird how I live in New York, and the New York border, New York has changed, and it's kind of like everything was kind of like going straight like this, and now everything's kind of bending to, could you say, towards the east? Yeah, I don't want to say left, towards the east. So if I look at a map now, and it looks completely different from what it is. So maybe I changed multiverses. I know I'm not crazy, so I'm saying that, discounting that right away. But the Earth is, the U.S. map. I've seen a lot of changes, but this is like a major change. Maybe I'm just in a different multiverse. But if I look, and New York now is bordering 6 states, and Vermont, I was more to the left, and now it's like above New York. Vermont was more towards the left, and the Great Lakes, which Lake Ontario, I mean, it just doesn't really make sense to me. I know Niagara Falls was there, but it's just it just seems like, everything's moved, and I live here, so we're bordering 6 states now, and it just, if you look at, I mean, I don't know if it'll help see, maybe this is a multiverse shift, and maybe I switched multiverses and you didn't. So, but I looked at a map last night, and I was looking on my iPad, and it kind of freaked me out big time, and I thought I'd share it today. So I don't know, what happened, but maybe I switched to another multiverse, or maybe the Earth shifted, which seems more probable to me. Maybe I'm in a simulation, and the simulation is shifting. My thoughts were originally that it was with time, that we were going towards a black hole, and that it's time and space shifts and people don't notice it. Where we were in the multiverse before versus now, I'm more in the scientific mode right now, and it seemed like because we were moving closer to the black hole, like we were like skipping forward through time that way. You could let me know what you think in the comments. I just have to say, I comment a lot on this, but I mean, it's like Massachusetts from New York is more to the right and not above us. So it's like everything kind of tilted this way. I mean, and I talked about, California before being more south than Florida, the Gulf of California. But it just never was that way for me before, and I'm slowly seeing these multiverse, shifts. There was a multiverse, and I got up, and I went to, I was out. I guess I don't go out a lot, and I went with my family. Said, "Oh, let's go to this mini mall." So I haven't been out in a while, with lockdown and all that. So I was like, okay, sure, I'll look around, and let's go in this store. I'm like, Nordstrom Rack. And I was like, Nordstrom Rack? Never heard of Nordstrom Rack before. My family member's like, what do you mean? You've gone here before? I'm like, I've never gone to Nordstrom Rack before. I've never heard of this store before. I've heard of Nordstrom's, but never Nordstrom Rack. And like, yeah, they have stuff from Nordstrom's, but they're marked down. I said, this is freaky. Don't tell me that this has been around for a long time. So let's see. Nordstrom Rack started 1973. Nordstrom Rack. Okay, that's freaking me out right now because I've never heard of Nordstrom Rack. I've been in Nordstrom's many times. So this was a new one for me. Just today, I walked into Nordstrom's and I don't know if that's for you, if you've heard of Nordstrom Rack before. Maybe you're from this multiverse, if that's what this is. I just heard that the government came out with something, and they said that they have something that makes a nuclear weapon looks like a toy, and they have some kind of a reality shifting weapon, like a multiverse weapon. So now I'm like, duh, of course you do. Stop pointing it at people, Also, I watched down in the news today about, Trump and the, impeachment, what they're talking about. And I watched the videos and I'm like, I just know that this is all like some kind of multiverse shift because Trump didn't have, if you look at what he was saying, okay, that he was saying that there wasn't, he was like, God bless you. And when he was doing that, he was like, God bless you. He wasn't saying, God bless you to these protesters while they were attacking, the Capitol. But that's what they're saying in the media. It just didn't happen that way. It's like now the protesters, are attacking the Capitol. But in what I'm saying to you is where the multiverse where I was, or my consciousness or whatever was, that there was no, protests like that. People just walked through the U.S. Capitol, they took selfies, and they left, and they televised it, and that was pretty much it. And then it started, progressing with it's like they turned a multiverse weapon on it, and they made it, more worse and worse and worse as time goes by. And now I heard 7 people died. Okay, it was just one person, and then they said second person because he killed himself. It was a second officer, and I talked about that before. But now it's like 7 people died. I was like, okay, so I didn't look into it. My condolences to those families that happened, but to me there was one person died. Then there was 2 people, but now there's 7 people died in the attacks. Makes total no sense. It's just very strange. So I thought I'd share that. But to me, the big news is the shift. New York looks completely different. I was going to talk about Wales again, trying to continue, and I looked up Wales, and then I was at work yesterday. I looked up Wales just to see, and I started researching Wales a little bit. Now there's whales with beaked whales. So there's whales with these beaks. So they're okay. We just had when I was growing up and we studied whales, we just had whales with baleen in their mouths, and they had ones with teeth, and those were orcas and things like that. So now there's a group of cetaceans noted for being one of the least known group of animals because of deep sea habitat and apparently low abundance. Beaked whales, just really weird. The beaked whales are moderate in size, converging grooves under the throat, absence of a notch in the tail fluke. Their toothed whales have only one pair of teeth. The teeth are tusk-like, but only visible in males, which are presumed to use these teeth in combat for females for reproductive rights. In females, the teeth do not develop and remain hidden in the gum tissues. Okay, so this is really weird to me, that there's, beaked whales, and I'm not even talking about the narwhal whales, those ones that look like unicorns. These are just like beaked whales. So now there's whales with like beaks. Anyway, but it lends itself to the idea that there's a multiverse, and I shifted when I got up and I went out, and then I'm in Nordstrom's Rack, and I'm looking around like, what the heck, I said to my significant other, I said, I must have shifted multiverses. Nice to meet you. And, I get looked at like I'm crazy, and they said, yeah, funny. Because I'm always making jokes. But I wasn't really joking that much, but it's very strange. So this all kind of goes together with my last videos, what I've been saying about the Capitol attacks, that something's going on with the multiverse shifts, and kind of makes sense. I don't mean to just blather on, but it's really concerning to me when I look at the map and realize that I'm not in the U.S. that I remember, but I don't think the map, I mean, my gut tells me, that I didn't move. My gut tells me that the U.S., the map shifted around me, which is kind of, I guess that's a egocentric view that a whole world would, shift and I would be the same. So, but, maybe it's the choices you make, and the choices you make with the higher vibrational energy, and you end up at a different place. Maybe I made a wrong choice, maybe I made a right choice, maybe I'm going to a universe which is worse so I can help it to get better. That was one of my ideas. So maybe you're doing the same thing. Maybe you've noticed the same thing as me. Maybe you just think that I'm crazy. But, I could go over the whole map and point out each individual thing. But to me, this latest, change in the U.S. map, where you got like Nova Scotia, is hanging over. It's hanging over, the U.S. I mean, it's like hanging over, what? Come on. That's not the map I grew up with. But anyway, and I'm looking for Tennessee. Where is Tennessee? Where is Tennessee? I was just thinking that. Where's Tennessee? Where's Tennessee? Hello. Where's Tennessee? I'm video recording this, for me live. Where's Tennessee? Tennessee. Well, let's see it on the map. Tennessee's now in the middle of the U.S. It's towards the middle, which is pretty weird, because I've driven through Tennessee from New York to Florida. And now Tennessee switch places with, you know, another state, and then Georgia was with where Alabama was. So Alabama and Georgia were different. So Alabama was adjoining Florida more than Georgia, so they switched places. Okay, and let's look at the map a little more. You know, you could tell that this is all screwed up because there's two Washingtons. There's Washington D.C. and there's Washington State. Like, to me, that is crazy. There's Greenland, which is all ice, and Iceland, which is all green. So I know none of this makes sense, and you think that's stupid. But I could just tell that this is all wackadoo. And then, where is it? Guatemala has a huge hump now, with Cancun coming out. Totally, you know, weird. In Greenland, it's ginormous. It's huge. Greenland has been blowing up. So maybe I'm just in a simulation, and well, you know, that wouldn't make sense. Like, if you're in a that would be the easiest answer. But if you're in a simulation, then why would the map keep moving around unless the programmers are more interested in, maybe it's a modeling of weather patterns, and, you know, it's advanced computer simulation for weather patterns, and I'm just in it. And modeling for, you know, things like that. I don't get it. But that whole thing with Guatemala is crazy too. Wasn't there just 5 Great Lakes? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You see, now there's kind of 6 Great Lakes. And Chicago, I've been to Chicago. You know, Chicago was pretty much away from the water, but now it's, you know, on Lake Michigan, and so is Milwaukee. Been to Milwaukee too, and that's been weirding me out. But this latest one, where the whole map kind of shifted, is really weird, and now there's all different stores. I don't know what else to say. I said a lot and probably made myself seem stupid and crazy. If, you know, again, I should have said this at the beginning. If you have mental problems, don't watch this channel. Unless you watch a different one that says doesn't have Mandela effect in it, because this isn't going to help you at all. Anyway, like, subscribe, share, or not. You know, delete it if you want, and never watch my channel again if this bothers you. That's fine. Anyway, thanks so much. Bye.